Looks like we are live back on the 2002 Yamaha WR250F. Just kind of doing the finishing touches on this bike. Ended up being having a lot of labor hours, need a lot of parts, and I kind of understand. Customer buys a bike. This one right here was supposedly purchased for around $1,500, and I'm not sure if I want to disclose how much we actually have into it, but let's just say we have quite a bit in my opinion. Not that like I'm overcharging or anything like that, but just this bike absolutely needed a lot of work to make it, run. Um, Kind of like fits in that category of, say, if I was looking for a bike, just from the mechanic standpoint, this would be like considered a parts bike to me. The only way I would kind of consider rebuilding it or taking it on as a personal project would be as if I, pretty much the bike was donated to me. Other than that, wouldn't really want to pay for it from the amount of work that it needs. But now that, it's had all these nice OEM high quality aftermarket parts, it's pretty dialed in, got the carburetor, the cam timing, handlebars, controls, air system, new chain sprockets, even cleaned and lubricated the kickstand. We got the skid plate mounted up securely. Holes are kind of stripped out, so we ended up just throwing a nut on the back side of the bolt for the skid plate. Has one bracket, doesn't have these forward ones here. Notice when I was doing the oil change, kind of ran into a problem, but we also flushed the coolant. But when we were doing our oil change, we noticed that this bolt right here was stripped out, and this lower bolt here, it's goes into the right hand engine cover here. So there's a possibility you could maybe put a time cert, possibly a helicoil. The correct thing to do would probably just be to replace the whole cover, and then I'd probably have to do all the services that the oil, the coolant. So the other option is I did replace all the O-rings, the gaskets, and these two bolts are torqued. This one I just put some thread tape and kind of put it in, and it's not really holding, but we'll see. There was a leak on this bike. I thought it was maybe coming from here. There is a possibility the oil hose. I noticed there's an oil hose and a clamp right here underneath the frame drain plug. That one was loose, so I tightened that up, but it's pretty dry rotted, so might have multiple leaks. This bike takes about 1.5, maybe I think it was 1.5 standard, 1.6 with an oil and filter change, and then 1.7 empty. So we're going to go ahead and put about 1.5, 1.6 liters in it and see where it, kind of where it sits on the oil level, and then fire it up once we finish the electrical repairs. Kind of want to, with the new throttle, got these nice ODI Emig, I think that's what they're called, the Emig Pro grips. Oh, these things just feel like butter and fit right and nice into the throttle housing. Perfect fit. Thought I was going to have to replace the cam, but one of the other cams provided just so happened to fit pretty well. So the thing I did notice is I might have to make another minor throttle cable adjustment, but that's not a big deal. We can go ahead and do that. The major thing that I wanted to focus on was getting the electrical repaired on this bike. We got some open wires. This harness has been kind of hacked. A lot of these connectors missing, missing broken tabs and been pried apart. It's also been modified in the sense of these bikes come with a safety neutral switch. I mean, this bike has just been modified all around, but typically there's a neutral switch right here, and that's been omitted. Basically, it's a block off plate to kind of make it like the YZ from the WR to the YZ. So I think that has to do with why the blue wire was cut there, if I'm not mistaken. But we're pretty much going to fix this. What there was is there was an ignition key bolted onto the triple tree here that basically was wired on the primary side of the ignition coil between the ignition coil and CDI box, and that's kind of incorrect. That's not the proper way to shut off the engines on this bike. Typically, you'd want to ground. There should be a button here, but that was taken off. The connector is. There's a connector for it. This is the original connector right here. So we got a new OEM kill switch coming in, and basically how it works is it grounds the signal from the stator, and that's what makes the the ignition system shut off. It basically grounds the spark. So to intermittently open or abruptly open up the primary side of the coil, that's going to create a surge and allow that power to flow back to the ECU. And like I was saying in the other videos in diagnosing, the capacitor inside there, that usually it's CDI, capacitor discharge ignition. Yeah, the capacitor in there, it doesn't have a diode, it's not protected. So usually you'll start to heat that up, and usually it'll short out the CDI after a while. So yep, that's kind of the science behind it. So let's rock and roll. I'm gonna go ahead and top the engine oil off before I get too carried away. And we're just gonna make some basic electrical repairs. We're not gonna do any custom wiring on this bike or anything. Not anything any more than what's necessary. But yep, this one gets filled from the frame. I got a little bit over. I already put some in there. It's like 1 1/4, and I already probably put about 1/4 in there. So let's go ahead and fill this up. Hopefully it doesn't overfill the frame. That'd be kind of interesting. Looks pretty good. Kind of curious. Nope, not registering. Something like that. Just let that hang out there for a little bit. Hopefully it doesn't fall off. Okay, cool. And so I want to do something with this electrical here. This is kind of, it's a little Mickey Mouse. Maybe take a look, see what I'm about to get myself into. So I just love spaghetti. Now I'm not sure. I think I made quite a few videos on this bike because I've had it for about 6 months now. But we will maybe in the future. It'll probably be a members only, but the FCR carburetor, full rebuild, mid body, basic rebuild, and custom tuning on that. That's going to be a members only video. And then I'm not sure if I made the diagnostics video. I did some electrical diagnosing on this thing because just had a bunch of issues, but I think that was going to be another members only video on its own. Basically, kind of go over ohm readings and voltage values and how stuff works. But yeah, all the cool electrical stuff to troubleshooting. This is a pretty simple, it's a CDI ignition system, so it's pretty basic, doesn't use a battery or anything like that. But yeah, from what I originally found, looks like everything's still good. Obviously the bike fires up now after replacing some parts and doing some things to it. Let's see. And this right here looks like that's going to the TPS or throttle position sensor. Let's see here. This is pretty nasty. Or if we can kind of, I'm not going to go all the way back. It's going to kind of cut that right there. And then let's see, this is going to be ground side. I wonder if I can wrap these up. So hopefully that's a good ground. Where's that ground? Okay, so that'd be the ground side for the headlight, if I'm not mistaken. It's the ground for the ignition system. It's paralleled in, goes through the rectifier. Okay, so yeah, from what I remember, it was at least wired correctly. It was just wired super shitty. So we're gonna go ahead and just kind of clean it up a little bit, just in case. I mean, technically, if you want to, I just recommend replacing the whole harness at this point, but just keep it economical. Give the customer the option. Say they do want to add a light in the future. For my electrical test, the lighting coil on the stator there is shorted out. The pulse coil and the I forget what the other one is. Basically, produces the current power to power the CDI. That one's good. It has like 3 coils on the stator, but the lighting coil that basically gets rectified here. Actually, I'm not sure. Does this rectify? I think this is just a voltage regulator. It's not an actual rectifier. So, and then it runs to would have ran to an incandescent light bulb here off of AC power. But that was bypassed. I forget exactly. They had like a battery, and so it's like kind of wired up in a way. You can't. You just have to rewire it basically. But I don't. It's a whole nother topic. We just want this bike to run at this point, so we can do something like that. Thinking. Stuff all this in here. I can hit that with the electrical tape. I'm not going to de-pin all these things. Take too much time. So we'll go like right. And these connections look okay. I mean, they're not the, putting these type of connectors, not the best, but it is what it is. We're not going to reinvent the wheel here. See how this tightens up. So I got a accessory cord here. Damn wham, thank you, ma'am. Let's fucking get this show on the row. Yeah, we'll just electrical tape the majority of it. It'll be professional electrical tape or some shit. And I'm just gonna wrap this up right here and just like kind of tuck along the frame. Get some heat to it. Come on, baby. Shrink, shrink, shrink. Shrink like your life depends on it. Mm. You watch it close up. Yeah. So this is just so whatever I can come back to it. It's kind of here. You cut off all the bullshit. Yep, any day now. All right, good enough. Should be fine for the moment. Let's see. I'll just kind of tuck that up and under there. Kind of with that. All right, cool. So the other thing, I kind of wanted to tape that. Is just kind of, it's been like hacked into. So I'm kind of wondering, should I use this? Get it good. Think about this. Yeah, probably something like that. Do this. Best way to do this. Sticky. Here. So that kind of goes like that. And for this one, I'm thinking that this is going to go right here on its own harness. Probably shrink that. It's okay if it's a little loose. So maybe I want to tape it before I run it. We'll kind of put that on maybe. It's just the data center. That's fucking hilarious. Copy. Every last drop. Got that. This is what we're running. You can run a couple different blends, but this is Lube 10W40. It's you know, you can't fuck stuff up using that. It's kind of what it's formulated for. If you stick to the right fluids, higher probability of you know, the bike lasting longer. All right, so how do I want to do this? Yeah, fucking cut some wires. No, should we tape some stuff first? Should I solder? Let's see, kind of get that set up. Okay. Nice. All right, let's hit some McGee. See where we're at. It's registering on the dipstick right at the very top. So once we fire it up, fill the oil cavity, I'm pretty sure it'll drop a little bit. But at least we know there is oil in the bike now. All right, cool. All right, let's go ahead and do some taping. So how do I want to do this? Probably start maybe wipe off the dirt, grease, and oil. Kind of helps get a better adhesion. And it should evaporate fairly quick. So let me see here. I want to give that some support. Okay. So this isn't originally obviously how it came from the factory, so we're kind of trying to make do with what we got here. Figure out how to mount all of this once that time comes. That's going to go like that. This is going to go like that too. So we can kind of tie into that. See the best way to do it. Yeah, because we're going to run some stuff right there. Let's see. Yep. So we'll just, I think we'll tie in off of this. And then do one that way. So once again, we're doing this without redoing the whole harness. I think it looks a lot better than how it originally looked. Had a chance to go over the majority of the connections. Into this one. Okay, cool. So those are all tied into each other now. Should be pretty mechanically sound, just using electrical tape. kind of hold it together pretty well so stuff doesn't break apart or fall apart. And then this wire right here looks okay. We're going to go ahead and tap into that one. So kind of cut this off right here. That. Okay. We're going to use one of these. I don't like these lately. So I want to add all that extra wire. Let's keep it a little shorter. Maybe like right there. So gotta spin that first. Before I forget. Ooh, might be a little close there. Just gotta be careful. You gotta use a shitload of heat on these solder connections here. A little bit more than what I like, but yeah, hey, it is what it is. So we'll go ahead and leave that like that. And let's see, looks like our harness is coming along now. So this should be good in length, good enough to connect our ground here to the ignition coil. Have a little wire here. Perfect. Okay. And then I do need to go grab, what do I need? I need something. Need a wire holder so I can do this without fudging anything up. Maybe something. Let's see how I can do this. Something like that, maybe over the frame. See if I can do that off to the side. Sometimes I can just hold it. This is aluminum. Wonder if I can clamp it. Is there any steel? Maybe those. Trying to find a best place. Maybe if I connect this here. There we go. Kind of opens it up a little bit. Call it BRB. Whoa.
Okay. All right, so I'm gonna try this. I think I'm out of lighters. That's a local liquor store, but so we're gonna have to do it. That's insulation. I don't know, this connected. Kind of like get a little safe, but still has it. It's like I'm like almost there. You have some stairs. Yeah. There it goes. There it goes. There it goes. It's like really say it's hit or miss, but it's kind of hard to get it. But there we go. There's a spider. What's it called? Spider wires. I really like it just because it's heat damage. Says like
Okay. Okay. Hmm. Okay. So a little bit of dielectric grease just because the weatherproof seals are missing from the plugs and the harness is all jacked up. None of these connectors. This one has the rubber seal, but this one right here is missing. And it's going to go like that. Let's see, like that. Okay, perfect. So use our little custom bolt here. Put just a little bit of I believe this is actually 10 millimeter. Okay, so let's see. Okay, feels solid. We can just kind of maybe throw some zip ties to hold that. This right here, throw a little bit of same thing, a little bit of dielectric grease. These are open, so these right here can be packed a little bit more, full of dielectric grease. Okay, kind of tuck that like that. Okay, and let's see, kind of tuck that, yep, down in there. Let's see, is there a way I can kind of tuck this up actually, like that, up and out of the way, just a little bit. It's better to have it like that. Okay. I think that should be fine. Yeah, that should be good, just like that. Ignition coil wires all nicely plugged in. And this one shouldn't come undone, but this one needs a little bit of electrical tape on it. Okay. And this is just to prevent this connector. I noticed it's damaged, broken from the more than likely previous owner. All right, cool. And that should hopefully minimize this connector from rattling loose. All right, very nice. These look like they plug in. Let's see. Or if we should have put the... should be... I'm trying to see if there's a way to route this a little bit better. There we go. Kind of like that. Okay, Tits McGee. That way all these connectors kind of tuck in down here by the frame.
underneath the gas tank. Okay, we'll just throw a zip tie to hold that to that. That should be good. Okay, oil drain hose. So now looks like it's just going to be this connector. Once the kill switch comes in, that'll be pretty easy. Run it down the handlebars, route it, plug it in. Should be good. Okay. Whoa. Okay. And there you go. There is a repaired wiring harness on a 2002 Yamaha WR250F. No need to reinvent the wheel, but should work out a lot better now. New Chinese ignition coil, spark plug, all that good stuff. Okay, so what else can I do to this thing? Got some fresh coolant in there. Very nice. All right, so I think I'm finished with the electrical repairs at this time. This is all trash. Yeah, so maybe throttle cable connections. Kind of want to double check that again since I put the new throttle tube on. Okay. Yeah, I like this. Should be good. Good enough for what we're doing. All right, cool. So I still need to do that. Shouldn't need that. We're gonna need that. So let's see, what else am I gonna do? I need to. What else does this thing need? This bike needed a lot of work. Overall, needed a bunch of work. Okay. All right. What else? I think I'm done with the heat gun at this time. Kind of get some of this stuff out of the way. Less stuff in the way, easier it is to work. Okay. Very nice. So cool. Got the skid plate on, engine oil is filled up, coolant flush, new aftermarket coils installed, wiring harness repaired, fixed, full carburetor, valve adjustment, engine timing, fixed a bunch of Mickey Mouse stuff. Yeah, there's kind of trying to think what else can I do to this thing. So just those cables, and then I think I just need to double check this gas tank here. Kind of want to double check this gas tank. Maybe we can get this coolant out of the way right here. Nice. Okay. Kind of got to clean up the work area again. Working on like 20 different projects. Okay, so check the gas tank. We got oil. Then I kind of wanted to do, we got this fuel line here. Let me see, do we have any more parts left for this thing? So with the exception of the airbox and kill switch, that's pretty much it. This is just for the gas tank fairings and seat. And I kind of want to fire this thing up now that it has engine oil, kind of see how it runs. So let's go ahead and double check this carburetor here. See if we can do a throttle cable adjustment. Okay. Using our 4mm hex wrench. All right, just pull off the cover. Okay, FCR throttle cable cover, and then it kind of exposes us to the linkage. So I want to check to see how tight it is, this cable, see if there's any free play there before the valve throttle valve slide starts to open. So there's it's pretty decent. Actually, it didn't really change much. Could I go a little looser? We got this bike kind of tuned so you barely touch. It's safe, you know, vibration, turning the handlebars. That should be a good distance right there, that free play. But the second you apply, you know, just enough, boom, that throttle's opening. So maybe we'll just go ahead and actually leave it as is, but never hurts to double check after you install new parts to check free play. And if you watched in the other videos, we basically replace this here, loop the cables, tighten everything up. So this is okay. Just give that a second to dry. Very nice. I always like to put little paint stripes on everything that I kind of touch for the most part. So I'll just give that a second to dry, and then I'll go ahead and slide that back on. In the meantime, you can kind of put your cover back on. Boom, cover is back on. Put in our little screw here, Allen screw. Okay, perfect. Probably good enough to throw this cover back on. All right, bam, look at that. Spike actually looks put together and not super Mickey Mouse anymore. I like that. Looks like carburetor's already all the way in. I glued on this intake boot because it's pretty dry rotted, so use some gasket cinch and just sealed that up. Usually it works good. Have a good high chance. Did the same thing with the valve cover seal. Should be good. I want to say that's it. We're probably going to have an oil leak here because this bolt right here is stripped inside the case. Not a big deal. We'll double check fluids after we fire her up. And I think that's almost it. Maybe we can go ahead and set the fuel line before we get too carried away. I'm going to go ahead and go like this on the fuel line here. Just put a little bit of that. Okay. So more than likely, go like this. Like that. Wrong size clamp. So probably going to be the next size up. Let's try these out. Okay. Let's see what happens here. Okay. Aha. Much better. Kind of slide that towards the inside so it doesn't get caught on anything. There we go. So that fuel tube should not come off. Looks nice and pretty. Yeah, Motion Pro, they make really good fuel lines. It's not like a cheap one. Sometimes they'll put MGO. It's also decent quality, but these Motion Pro seem to last a couple years. They seem to be about closest to OEM quality. So we'll go ahead and rock and roll that. We still don't have a kill switch. So if we want to go ahead and, oh shit, if we want to do a little test run here. I also kind of want to see the gas tank. That should all be good. Let's double check fitment. Make sure the gas tank is clearing the connectors. Should appears as if it is. Bam, right there. Very nice. Cool. Like when stuff fits right. Okay. It's about lined up where it's gonna be. So let's see, do we need to trim this fuel line here? Let's see. Let's put a little bit of grease on it and let's see where it lands. Yeah, looks okay. That looks really good, actually. Looks just fine like that. Should be good. That way, have a little extra fuel line just in case you got to cut some off in the future. All right. So one last check on the fuel tank. I think everything was nice and clean. Looks like a little bit of gunk in there, but nothing too crazy. Could be moisture. Petcock looks clean. I'm gonna go ahead and throw some gas in this bad boy. See where we're at. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Should be good. Spray a little bit of WD in there. What's going on, guys? Welcome to the chat. Thought that was tightened up. Is this boot that worn out? Let's see if we can crank that a little tighter. No, that's as tight as it gets. Boot's just dry rotted, so there's gonna be a little bit of an intake leak, possibly. But it doesn't appear to be leaking. Oh, fuel line looks good. What's this? Oh, no. Petcock's leaking? Or is that all the oil I just sprayed on it? Probably all the oil I just sprayed on it. Be pretty obvious. I feel like if it was leaking gas. All right, let's fire this thing up and see what it does. Double check it. Thought it was pretty, should have been, it was pretty easy. Now that everything's put back together. Been getting it to start in about 2-3 kicks, 4 kicks. This is for high performance kick starting only. Okay, let's fucking see what we can do. I want to double check the fluids on it, just see how it does. Hopefully not piss off the neighbors. Shouldn't need the choke. All right, gas is on. Ooh. Oh, there it went. Ah. Oh, fuck. Whew. Sometimes it's easy to kickstart. Try the hot start. Wonder if I flooded it by fucking with the throttle too much. Whew. Fuel level a little too high. Are we flooding the engine? Shut out the gas. We got a little bit of fuel dripping. Let's throw the seat back on. Might help with getting a little bit of support. There we go. Kind of help. So I had a feeling, did I flood it? Float level, float level looks okay. Pretty sure I connected everything correctly. Have a feeling it flooded again. Don't see any fuel coming out. No, nothing. Got to set the fuel level just right on these, or they kind of act weird sometimes. I think I flooded it. Hold on. Let me help take away some of the flooding. Foot absolutely keeps slipping off of this. Whew, getting my ass kicked. Yeah, that's a hot start plunger. Whew. I think there's an issue with it. Like it's still, I feel like it's either the CDI or maybe the stator is just taking a shit. Because it shouldn't be this hard to kick over. Has decent compression, clearances, valve timing, carburetor. Pretty sure I flooded it. Let's see. God, I hate this bike now. This is one of those projects I should have made, maybe not even taken in. It's a bitch to get parts, and didn't really run when it was dropped off at all. So that's the whole thing. Usually you get a lot of bikes that are returns from other mechanics and other shops. They weren't able to fix them, or typically somebody made a mistake at some point. And then it makes it to me and I get stuck typically fixing everybody else's problems, which is okay as long as I'm compensated for it. Usually ends up not being the case. Usually end up putting way more time into these projects than what I would like to. Absolutely flooded. Should have spark. Yeah, we got a spark still. Yeah, this is something you don't want to have to be doing on the trail, and that's what I'm trying to figure out is like, how come it's so temperamental? Maybe I need to make another minor float adjustment. Which I think I'm going to do that really quick. So I notice the float, it's leaking just a little bit more gas than what I would like it to at the angle it's sitting at. Okay. Let's pull apart the carburetor really quick. Make a slide float valve adjustment. So we're going to need. Okay. Let's see if we can get this for the millionth time. Personally, it'd be nice if I could have just bought a new carburetor, but these carburetors are discontinued. So it's been rebuilt quite a few times and it was kind of jacked up. So I'm almost wondering if I'm missing something, the float level, but let's see here. See if we can drain the fuel. Okay. Okay, almost there. This is like the 20th time doing this carburetor. Usually they're not this hard. I gotta take out the pilot mixer screw, which absolutely sucks on this carburetor. Okay. Okay. So what do we got going on here? Float needle. Oh. Okay. Okay. Yep, let's give this a rip, see what it does. Geez, these carburetors are pretty fun to deal with. All right. Especially when you drop hardware. Oh. Oh. Okay, and there should be one other screw hiding around here. Where'd it go? No, not right here. Where'd that little fucker go? Did I drop that one too? No, doesn't appear as if I did. Let's go ahead and throw in this mixture screw. A little bit of grease. Let's go ahead and work that in. Let's see. There's that last screw. Okay. Okay. Two. Okay. Okay. Really only want to mess with this bike one more time. Or get picked up as is. Because I'm going to spend 2 days in a row working on this thing, and technically it's still not even finished. Waiting on parts to come in. And I just keep finding more and more issues. The more I work on this bike, the more problems I find. So, you know, it kind of is what it is. So what happens when you work on 25-year-old motorcycles. Some of this stuff is gonna need a lot of work. And hardware is gonna be stripped out. Okay. Okay. Let's try that. right, cool. Let's see if this thing actually wants to turn on now. Okay, drain all the gas out. Should be plenty of gas in there. Yep, on. Okay. Let's see if it wants to do it now. Yeah, usually the hot start should lean it out. Well, it might, float level might have been set just a little too high still. We'll see right now. Sound like it flooded out again. Huh, that's weird. Ooh. Nope, it kind of wanted to go and then it just like floods out again. Huh. Super temperamental. Runs good and then it doesn't. But usually they run pretty good. I feel like that's something else that I'm missing. Usually 90% of them, they always work just fine. Jet needle, I mean, it's all the right parts. I have a feeling it flooded out again. Jesus. Probably sit here and kick it for days. Or maybe hop on another project, get this one off the lift. Yeah, it's flooded out again. I don't know. Not quite sure why it keeps flooding. I keep adjusting the float level. Shit, am I about to go back to not tightening up the spark plug again so I can troubleshoot it? I'll check it one last time and that's probably going to be it. Just gonna have to tell the customer, hey, it was running good and now it's not. The only thing I'm wondering is, I'm pretty sure the valve, I mean, it ran really good with the way I set the exhaust cam. But I'm just wondering if that ultimately is what's causing all of this right here, is just not having the right exhaust cam in it. Or if the CDI box is just, you know, no good. But I'm over this thing. I'm about to get this thing off the lift and move on to something else. It's essentially, for what I'm being paid, it's not worth my time anymore. Somebody else can mess with it. Doesn't appear to be super wet. Let's see if it sprays. A little bit of fuel in there. Yeah, I don't know. It's like it wants to start, but then it doesn't. Yep, well, I think I'm going to call it quits on this one for right now. Something's going on with it. But appreciate y'all hanging in there. We're going to throw another bike up on the lift, work on something else. Thanks for watching. Hit those subscribe buttons, bell notifications. Stay up to date. Watch me struggle. Try to fix some of these clapped out bikes, get them back to life. Hit those comment boxes if you have any questions. Share this video, give it a thumbs up, and watch me struggle again next time. Thanks for watching, guys.